Welcome back to Gary Strigler and his ladder construction. Last week we showed how to put the sides together and build the treads. This week we're going to wrap up the project, completing the installation and ready for staying.
So now those two are lining up. I've got to figure out how to make that cut at the top. Now, it's basically, if you think about it, although this ladder is, on an angle, I've got the 10 degrees down at the floor, I've got to get the cut that's vertical up here. It's a cut that's 90 degrees to the one that's down there. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit by going and getting my other one that I made the miscut on years ago. But first thing I've got to do, I had this written down, I believe it's 104.5 is the length of my ladder. And I'm definitely going to double check that before I start cutting the ladder. But I'm going to come up here to 104.5. Mark that. Yeah, I'm coming from the very long point of my ladder down here. Double check myself because I got quite a bit invested in these pieces at this point. It's not a good time to make a mistake. I think I've got a square right in here that I can just square these across real quick. All right. I'm going to go grab my other piece that shows me what the angle is. And they have this, this, you would be able to determine this if you get those full instructions that they have. But here's that cut. Again, this cut is 90 degrees to that one on the end. So I'm just going to slide this up here until that long point lines up there and mark it. And let me show you what goes on. I'm going to grab on the pieces here, I believe. And get this unwrapped. I want to be super careful though about cutting on this plastic because it's a very expensive piece of hardware inside here. So this is that top roller, and the reason it moves up and down is because it would be that way when the ladder's at an angle for you to climb it, and then when you stand the ladder up, it goes the other direction, and it mounts. If I can show you, mounts like so. So that's why we need this long angle. I believe, and I'm going to look, like everything, I'm just going to look at the picture in the magazine. But I believe that this kind of lines up with the short point. And put this back in the plastic for a second. I'm going to tell you that if you wanted to need to try and reproduce this and you didn't have the instructions, that, this mark is the overall length. We know that this is that cut that's 90 degrees from that. I'm going to show you in a minute how to make that cut. But I believe, stay with me. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This is about, from here down to there is about 1.5 inches, 1.5 and 5/8. And you could probably be, as long as the two up both sides match, you could be off a little bit. So, if you mark the overall length and then, come down 1 inch and about 1.5 inches to 1 and 5/8, that would be where this long line intersects it. All right. This is the part where I want to make 100% sure, that I've got a matching pair. So for this one, I'm just going to draw a line. I want that angle going the opposite direction. Okay. So as you can see, I've got a couple going opposite directions. Now, I can actually make I'm just going to tack a straight edge on to that board, and I can make that cut with a miter saw. I'm going to attach an extra piece across this way. Actually, I think I'll probably attach it underneath, so I may want to raise this up 3/4 of an inch. This is just a scrap piece of plywood that I will take some headless pins. See, this is the bottom side. So I'm just going to attach this with some headless pins. This is probably a good time for me to mention again my statement that there's several different ways that you could do this. And if you don't like my method, there's several other ways you could figure out. And these are just 23 gauge headless pins, just small fasteners. But the key is I got them flush with that. Okay, here we go. All right. I said it's 90 degrees to 10. So what I need to do is take the saw to 10 here. Oops, actually it may be 12. All right, now I'm just going to move this over until that cut line lines up pretty well. Now I really need to take my time. You do need a very sharp blade for this because, miter saw blades, and by the way, I've locked this in on the angle too, but miter saw blades are meant to cross cut, not to rip, and I'm sort of doing a rip here, so I'm really going to take my time. I mean, you could have it clamped in even, but the biggest thing is I'm not going to have my hands anywhere near. So there it is. And I probably got enough plywood left. I can do the same thing the other end. Just going to take a second and grab hold of these pins and wiggle them back and forth, have them break off. And if you noticed on my sample piece, there's just this is just, we don't have the sharp corners, just kind of rounded over. We'll get both of them cut like I want to, and then we'll worry about getting that end rounded over. All right. So just same steps one more time. I'm going to cut it off square first. I think I turned it over last time, but there's really no reason I can't just shoot through from this end, from the top. especially if I put a whole lot of nails in that piece that's eventually going to become waste. Okay, last call to double check. These are lining up nicely in a pair. I want to maybe take a pencil and just really highlight that cut. You know, this is the other side, so I'm going to just lay this on top. Make sure that's the cut we're going to get. All right, here we go. You know, as I'm sitting there thinking too, you could make this cut on a table saw also if you just attached a big wide piece to the top of it and then ran the edge of that piece next to the saw. Oh, actually, if this is 3.5, if I tacked this board, you know, right to this and set the table saw at 3.5, you know, run this side against the fence, that would make this cut too. So there's lots of different ways you could do this. And you might like that better than what I'm doing. Okay. Just going to move this around until the nice thing about this shadow cut line is I can see right where I'm going to cut. That looks pretty good. Lock it in place. Get rid of these nails. And now I've just got to, well, I had better put that piece of hardware that goes on here in place first before I do something to round this over and get rid of that sharp edge. I need to put the that piece of hardware on there and look at it. There's going to be really only about one more step that we have to do in order to be ready to put the ladder together. So again, I'm going to line up the bottom of this bottom hole right there where that cut starts. So this can, I got that upside down. You know what, I may need to go look at, I'm going to go look at the instructions before I do that, because that may not be right, if I can figure out where I had it. Okay, so here's the really good news for me. They've actually got a picture, so that helps. And it actually looks like the way that needs to be installed is so that when this is all the way slid up, when this is all the way up, that it lines up with the top of that. So, giving some serious thought while I've kind of got it there. First off, I'm just going to draw just something that looks good to me. Just round that over. But I'm also going to take my pilot hole bit. Well, I've got it where I think I want it to be, which is right there. I'm just kind of eyeballing this, but this is pretty forgiving. You know, because remember, I've got all that cut, so I'd have to drill a pretty bad hole to, you know, to mess that up, although I want it to be pretty tight. So I've got, well, go ahead and got those 2 pilot holes. And that'll show me where I need to drill a bigger hole later. And I'm just going to take, run out of room, a jigsaw that I know I've got down here somewhere. Ah, here it is. Grab a battery. And I'm just going to cut that little radius slowly, because this is a pretty aggressive blade. Okay. Put these 2 back together face to face again. It would seem improbable that I could mess that up, but I'm not taking any chances. Before I forget it, I'm going to take the sander, wherever I may have laid it, and I'm just going to sand that cut. I still need, I kind of need to round this over, but I'm going to stop right here. I don't want to come down this cut. So I'm just going to get close. If I don't get totally close up, I'll take a piece of sandpaper and kind of finish it up. I'll grab my sander real quick and hit that. And round the other one over real quick. I think I need to drill the 2 pilot holes in this one still. See if I got this right. And I put So with this all the way in the up position, I'm lining it up all the way in the up position. I'm lining it up with the top of my piece. Then I'm just gonna, I just want to keep verifying. I'm sitting thinking, man, this would not be the time to make a mistake. I'm gonna put a little pencil mark right there, maybe. A little pencil mark. Just for giggles and grins. Want to measure, that's around 2 7/8. You know, when I just swing that radius around, it's about 2 7/8, and that's what I got there. So, rather take a second more and verify than make a mistake. There's that one. I'm going to make this mark a little bit bolder. Okay. Well, I need to check and see, but this looks a lot like, that sure looks like a 1/4 inch hole there. So I just need to get a 1/4 inch Forstner bit and drill through from each direction. I could probably drill all the way through from one direction because there's so much coverage here, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to blow out. But the other thing that we need to do, if I can remember, is so there's this turning that goes at the top somewhere up here. It's basically to grab a hold of at the top of the ladder. This may be that point where I need to grab the instructions another time. So again, I think in those full instructions that they have at the that they have online, it'll show you all this exactly, but I'm thinking I believe, I'm trying to find a good picture, but I think what happens is this, I believe this goes about right there. I'm going to try and look one more time to see if I can't find a picture in here somewhere that shows, and you know, realistically, if it goes, as long as it's somewhere pretty much to the top, you can grab it, it's really not going to matter a whole lot. But it sure looks like it goes up there. Yeah. All right, that's what we're going to go with. I know it'll work there. If something goes wrong, you know, we'll deal with it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, find that 1/4 inch drill bit, drill these holes through, and although I'm not going to leave these on here right now, I'm going to temporarily mount them, and then this turning is, looks like 7/8, so I'm going to need to get a 7/8 inch drill bit. I want that to be a Forstner bit, I'm pretty sure, because you know, this distance down is about a 1/2 inch. So I don't want to just take off with a paddle bit, because you know the point on that paddle bit would probably break through the other side before I got through. Now, I do think that they send an extra screw to screw through the outside end of that, but I'd rather make that hole later as now. I want to make absolutely sure I do have that hole before the extra screws, since these screws are a special color. Okay, gotta go get 7/8 inch Forstner bit, a 1/4 inch Forstner bit, and I'll be right back. So I went ahead and temporarily mounted this upper roller, and I actually ended up just finding a 5/16 straight bit. Couldn't find the Forstner bit I wanted, but it worked fine because, again, we got so much coverage this metal. There's the location that I want. I don't know if you can see it or not. And that turns out to be from this point down 5 inches, and from this edge back 1 3/8 inches. Once I marked that, I went to my other piece and marked it also. Now, just a mental note, make sure you're drilling the holes for this finial piece on the inside where you've got the dados. It's got to go there, or else you're going to have to come up with some kind of a decorative cap for it if you drill it on the wrong side. I'm also going to need to be super careful not to drill too far. I did a test hole, and that worked out great. I'm probably going to drill part way and stop and check, because I don't want to come all the way through, and I'm hoping that I don't set off a fire alarm or something. This bit's seen better days, but I just got to drill 2 holes. Seems like a good place to stop and check. Man, it may need just a kiss. All right, that's what we want on that one. Now, since I don't have the hardware, I can get this a little more back. And I think, hopefully I did mention I drilled a test hole to make sure this bit was going to work. I think I already said that. I'm on the panic moment, a double check. I am on the inside with the dado side. All right, fantastic. So this piece fits. There's only one more thing that I've got to do before we're ready to put this all together. I'm going to flip these around. And on the other end, we just got to drill, I think it's just 1 hole through here to help us mount the wheels. I'm going to remove this. All right, so the wheels mount to the outside of the ladder, and what I'm trying to do, it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but maybe I can spin this around here. What could possibly go wrong? we want this metal pretty much centered. And so what I've done is I just slid this over until the wheel is basically right, the edge of this wheel is basically right where that radius starts. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. And so now I've got to drill a hole through. Now the challenge is, because I don't want to blow this out on the other side, I think I'm going to take and drill a tiny hole first, all the way through, and then take my bigger bit and actually drill back through this way, because I've got a whole lot of material that will cover me there if I do have a blowout there. Let's see, I should. I'm being absolutely super careful with that hardware because it's got that polished finish. And, unlike matte black or something, I really would have trouble if something got scarred up. Double check myself. Pretty sure we can make that work. So now all I've got to do is carefully mark it on the other side. Okay, fits on the outside. As it gets towards the end of the day, you want to really double check yourself because, got quite a bit of work on these ladder sides. I don't really want to make another one. All right, now we're ready to see whether all that stuff we've done at this point is going to come together or not, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I have put these together by myself, but it is really hard. So I've got a buddy who's been helping me here in the shop. Mike, come on in here. Mike is going to help me wrestle this together. Now, make sure you remember, want to have this finial, this top rung in place, and we've got all our treads here lined up. We actually took all the rods and went ahead and put I don't know what you call that, at any rate, the end cap on. We're just going to call it the end cap. Okay, Mike, if you'll just kind of keep that elevated a little bit, I'm going to start right here and then just start kind of trying to pop them in. It's not that much different than putting balusters on a stairway. How we doing? They're not exactly where they need to be, but they are in, I think. Aren't they all in?
They're all in.
Okay, so what I want to do, Mike, I'm going to pivot this end out, and I'm going to try and slip one of these in. We've got a couple, an Allen wrench for each side. And you know what? I think I may even try and bring it up from the bottom up. That's all right. We got them in once, we can do it again, right? If we have to. There we go. All right. Now then, I'm going to slide a finial in from the top. Start twisting it. All right, I got one for the bottom here, Mike. Again, let's just barely let that come out. Aha, there you go. I also think it could possibly be safe enough for me to take my safety glasses off now.
I think you're safe.
All right. I think that's probably tight enough for now. So I wonder if we can just ease this thing down, maybe going towards the table saw, and feed another one up from the bottom. Well, there it goes, I think. Mike, I'm going to work the bottom. All right, let me get my wrench in there. You should be able to go now.
Yep.
And before we get too tight, we're using it as an alignment point where the corner of our tread just barely lines up there, so I may need to take and barely tap right up until we put the pocket screws in. We're okay. Okay, I bet you we'll need that again in a little bit. I can see right here, this already needs to come. There we go. We'll once we get it all together, we'll come back through and adjust them all. All righty. Whoops. All right. Starting to hit our pace now.
This would not be fun to do by yourself.
It's very frustrating, so I'm really glad you're able to be here to help. Okay. I go about one more and we may go back the other way. Oh yeah, flip around a bit. Excellent, excellent idea. All right, I'm in there now. Good. Let's see. Flip around, and we could even work off the other end of the table, possibly. We're that close, maybe, think? Yeah. So that's your wrench. I need to have my own wrench here. I'm going to gently tap that back a little more in line. Okay. Oh, come on now. Oh, there we go. I got it. I think we might make it. Hang on here. I'm going to tap this one with the rubber handle. Oh. Definitely needs some. Okay. There we go. Tap that. Seems to be getting a little tighter at the bottom here. That could have been it. That could have been the thing. Okay. Now what we want to do next is, let's get this back out of the way for a second. I want to, Mike, I'll still get you to help me with this because two sets of eyes are better than one. We're going to take just the top of the ladder. As a matter of fact, maybe if you work one side and I work the other, something. But what we're wanting to do is make it to where that bare clipped corner of the tread lines right up with the, like I think that's it right there, Mike, on that one. This one looks good. So I've got a pilot hole bit because I drill a little. I'm just going right back through those, the holes, the pilot holes are already made. And let's see, I already messed up and put some of the screws in the wrong place, didn't I? Where's our? Could not possibly have lost all the hardware. Here they are. Oh, that was perfect because I don't want them just to fall in there, but I definitely won't want them to be too tight. So,
drill pilot holes.
Yeah, well,
no,
I'll tell you, let's do from both. Let's try and get both sides to go. That looks good to me. You like that, Mike?
I like it.
Okay. We are so close to being there that we do not want to get in a hurry at this point. That one looks good. That one, I'm thinking maybe down just a touch. Let me get that in. I want to barely tap this one up. Yep. Okay. Here you are, Mike. Thank you.
You like where this one is?
Yeah, I think so. Tray, you got screws. Okay. That looks good to me. It's amazing how hard that maple is on drill bits. I don't know, maybe just a Okay. Take that down just a fuzz.
Just come down to
Does that look good too there, Mike, real quick?
Yep.
Okay, all right. More screws. I'm kind of surprised how well we're not having to move these up and down much, I guess. Did a pretty good job getting them in place when we're tightening the bolts down. Two for you, Mike. How come you're always waiting on me? I guess I'm just old and slow.
I think we're about the same age, Jerry. Nice try, though.
Well, what I always say is in carpenter years, I'm about 120.
How's that compared to dog years?
It's not quite as bad as dog years, but almost. All right. Good news, we got 4 screws left.
I only need 2.
Okay.
Oh, you have 2.
Yeah. You got going so fast, you got ahead of me.
Yes, I did.
All right, while we got this here, I'm going to go over and dig around our pile of hardware. By the way, it looks like we do have 2 extra screws, so we can put screws in that finial at the top. Oh boy. Lower unit B. So, interestingly enough, these are all actually, the hardware's all marked. Of course, you know, be that guy that just plows right on ahead, I just kind of looked at it and go, I think that goes there. Here's the 2 screws for that. Let's get the rollers on the bottom first. I put it over here. I found it. Stop the search. So I'll just bring all the parts and we'll sort it out later. What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, pretty sure down here that I need one of these and one of these. And we decide that we want to put the nuts to the inside or the outside? Inside?
Inside.
Okay, so that would mean what? I guess that must be, there's no hole all the way through, so that must just be a screw there.
Is there a washer that goes on the inside of it?
Not that I've seen. You know what? I bet you we're doing that wrong. We need to spin them around because this big washer head, I think it looked better the other way, but I think, see, we're saying that this head will serve like a washer, so we're going to put it on the wood side.
There you go.
And flip the nut. Yep. Okay, this can't be the right, or is it? That's a lot of, I don't think there's that much nut there. Don't want to lose that. Let's see if we can find.
I bet there's a washer that goes on.
I'm not seeing anything.
Any washer.
Here we go. This says lower unit B. That could be it.
Different size.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. All right, get a knife. There we go. Now we're cooking. So we've actually got a shorter bolt, which is going to work out a lot better. Nowhere near as much thread there. Let me get this. You know what, Mike, we need to do?
Different one.
Yeah, is it really? Different size? Are you serious?
Nope.
We have more. All right. One thing we want to do, Mike, we've got to have this pilot hole right here. Apparently that's just a pilot hole and a screw. That looks like trouble all day to me. No. We're going to tighten this up. We're going to hold our breath on this and think about it a little bit. All right, I'm going to go get a set of Allen wrenches.
Okay. And nut drivers if you got them. Or something to hold the nut.
I think I do have a nut driver set. We got everything together. Of course, I still got to do a good bit of sanding, and my suspicion is when they paint it, they're probably going to take it apart anyway, but we got the bottom pieces in. This is actually just a wood screw down here, and because this is maple, we drilled a really nice pilot hole, waxed the screws, and only used a hand screwdriver because I did not want to twist anything off, but we got both of the legs on. Now, on the other end, we've also got, I don't know if you can see that or not, but we've got the top wheels on, and we also had 2 screws left to put in the finial. Let me see. I'm going to maybe bring this back down for a second. I like wrestling with a gorilla. Okay, so here's the screw that goes in the finial. The bolts are through there, and if you turn it up on edge, which is going to be hard to do, but there's also 1 screw there and 1 screw there. And again, we drilled a really nice pilot hole, waxed the screw, and we were super careful. But yeah, I love building these. They're so practical. And, you know, it's just a fun project. So I'm hoping that whether you're a professional or just a serious do-it-yourselfer, that you're going to find an opportunity to build one of these and put these skills into use.